Hello and welcome back to Newsmin. It's the 30th of January 2013 and right now it's time for a quick general gaming news update. Or I guess Guild Wars 2 news update, because in this episode we're having a look at the Guild Wars 2 Flame and Frost Prelude patch notes. That's it, there really are a lot of them and I'll need the entire episode to cover what needs to be covered. So let's get started. Guild Wars 2's Flame and Frost Prelude update is now live, and with it came pages upon pages of patch notes that I'm about to summarize for those of you like me. Too lazy to read them all. I realize I kind of had to read them all to make this video, but let's pretend I didn't, shall we? Good. I'll be giving you the highlights I thought were interesting, which will no doubt be all the wrong ones, but whatever. In the achievement section of the patch notes, we were told a new Living Story achievement category has been added. This section will contain a series of achievements specific to the storylines unfolding in Tyria. The first Living Story achievement, Refugee Volunteer, has already been added, and players who complete this achievement by playing the Flame and Frost Prelude content will be rewarded with the Volunteer title. They will also receive a karma reward via in-game mail and have the pleasure of actually doing the content itself. The content that was provided free of charge, no less. That last part wasn't actually in the patch notes if you didn't realize. Carrying on, more achievements will be added as the Living Story continues to unfold. Living Story events have been added to Wayfarer Foothills and DSR Plateau, and heralds have begun appearing in cities across Tyria. Their task is to keep adventurers apprised of the events currently underway that are driving the Living Story forward. So if you're lost, you know who to turn to. The events are already up and running, so be sure to check them out. Moving on, time for the new features and content section. There's some pretty big stuff here, like the new currency that's been added, the Laurel. Players earn 1 Laurel for completing their daily achievements and 10 for monthlies. Laurels can be spent at Laurel vendors in all the major cities to obtain over 90 items, including a new category of infusion, the Utility Infusion, Ascended Amulets, crafting starter kits, armor packs for all classes, obsidian shards, new and super cute looking minis, and much more. An achievement tracking UI has been added, new daily achievements have been added, daily achievements now rotate on a daily basis and only have a single tier, and lastly, the number of achievement points earned from dailies has been adjusted. I think they mean increased. In the dungeon changes, most dungeons have been rebalanced, bug fixed and polished, and you can no longer use waypoints while anyone is in combat. There were a whole bunch of Fractals of the Mists changes, like the fact that you can now reconnect after being disconnected. You can connect to a fractal map even if you aren't part of the original group that created the fractal instance. The reward system has been tweaked a bit and more. I honestly don't know the Fractals of the Mists well enough to be able to discuss this completely, so I kept it brief. In the dynamic leveling changes, attribute calculations for dynamic level scaling have been rebalanced. I don't blame you if you don't understand what that means. In general, this means weaker when adjusted down, stronger when adjusted up, and rewards when adjusted down have been increased to compensate. It is also now possible to receive your own level loot from any level of enemy, which I feel is great. The guest-in feature is finally live, and as we've discussed before, is only available between servers on your own region. There are a couple of extra limitations and restrictions you can read all about below. It now costs a gem fee to transfer your home world, and what I love about this is that the gem fees for world transfers are based on the population of the world you transfer into. Super clever. In the UI section of the patch notes, we've been told that changes have been made to the attribute section of the hero panel to cleanly display more information. It's looking good for sure. And then the only other change worth mentioning here, players can once again preview armor and weapons that cannot be equipped by their character. In the PvP changes, there were a bunch of tweaks made and goodies added to structured player versus player, like the previously discussed on Newsmin single round Temple of the Silent Storm tournaments and more. A World vs World reset is coming up soon, and then a change I am hoping makes a big difference to World vs World. Character load times in World vs World have been improved through the use of preloaded placeholder models. Have any of you actually seen these in action yet? If so, what do you think? Are they working? Are they working well? The final big section we're looking at is the Black Lion Trading Company Gem Store. Plush Quaggan backpack covers and riding brooms are now available for 300 and 250 gems respectively. Evon Nashblade's Box of Fun has been revamped, and all weapon and armor skins now have the option to be converted to PvP skins. Before finishing this off, there are the usual class changes that I kind of skipped over and you'll have to check out for yourselves below. A few other miscellaneous changes that I thought were interesting include that the risen creatures all over Ore have had their population density adjusted. Areas, chests, and merchants merchants in ore now offer better rewards, a new Orient jewelry box has been added to karma vendors across ore, and finally, super lastly, Zoja and other NPCs should no longer have invisible headgear in cinematics. That's it. If you want to read the full patch notes for yourselves, you know exactly where to look. Be sure to let me know if you've logged in and if you like what you see. I've not personally had much time to play yet, but it does seem like a good bunch of changes were made, and I suppose most importantly, changes that were actually needed were made. That's it for this episode. Check back here soon for more. Subscribe if you like the content, like the video and do all that other good stuff, and most importantly, happy Flame and Frost Prelude. And happy hunting for those laurels. Happy that.